Good evening, and welcome to the City of Topeka Planning Commission meeting. We are a commission appointed by the mayor and city council to plan for the orderly growth and development of the community, to hold public hearings, and to make recommendations to the governing body on planning items. Please note that the governing body rules state that the public hearings for planning cases shall be conducted solely by the Planning Commission. No additional public hearings will be conducted by the governing body. Tonight's cases are tentatively scheduled to be heard by the governing body next month. Agendas can be found at topeka.org. Some of tonight's cases involve public hearings. For those cases, the procedure will be as follows. First, the department staff will summarize the case. Next, we will hear from the applicant or their representative. Then we will receive public testimony. Comments will be limited to 4 minutes. For agenda items that do not involve public hearings, public comment is allowed, provided the person has signed up on Topeka Speaks or has notified staff prior to 5 p.m. today. Comments are limited to 4 minutes. Finally, at the end of regular business, the commission will entertain general comment regarding matters relating to the commission business, provided the person has signed up on Topeka Speaks or has notified staff prior to 5 p.m. today. Comments are limited to 4 minutes. Amanda, will you please take the roll?
Mr. Dean?
Here.
Ms. Nelson? Here. Ms. Herron?
Here.
Mr. Brooks?
Here.
Mr. Kaup?
Here.
Ms. Pearson? Here. Mr. Tababin? Here. Ms. Hannon? Here. We have enough for a quorum.
Thank you. I need a move to approve the minutes for June 17th, 2024. A motion? Is there any discussion? Seeing none. Amanda?
Ms. Hannon? Aye. Mr. Tababin? Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Mr. Nager is not here. Mr. Kaup?
Aye.
Mr. Brooks?
Aye.
Ms. Herron?
Aye.
Ms. Nelson? Aye. Mr. Dean?
Aye.
Amanda, I forgot to take the roll. Didn't I? Okay. All right. Are we good?
Yeah, minutes pass.
All right. Thank you. Is there any declaration of conflict of interest or ex parte communications by members of the commission? All right. Seeing none. Annie?
Okay, thank you. Okay, this first case is a PUD rezone. Property is located at the northwest corner, the intersection of Interstate I-470 and Topeka Boulevard. It comprises, including right-of-way, it comprises 17.5 acres, 15.27 acres. Yeah, it's on. Not excluding the right-of-way, they have proposed a redevelopment predominantly for a new quick trip fueling station on the first lot, and C4 commercial uses on the remaining lots, as well as an option for multiple family uses on one of the lots in the rear. Specifically, going into the commercial uses a little bit, the quick trip will be limited to fueling pumps for semi-trucks only. It's specifically not intended for a truck stop or overnight sleeping for truck drivers or resting areas for truck drivers. It does include a weigh station for truck drivers. Lots 2 and 3 will be C4. However, they're excluding vehicle tow lots and body shops, automobile service stations, type 3, pawn shops and secondhand shops. And then there are some other uses excluded on lots 1 and 2 in the event the quick trip doesn't occur. Is a RV short-term campground, building construction offices, and self-storage type 1 and 2. Lot 4 and 5 are intended for either multiple family residential or C4 commercial uses. The properties have been vacant since at least 2009. Most likely, they were vacant way before then. There was a former Howard Johnson's motel and restaurant on the site. I believe they were used for some storage, and this appears to be some stockpiling that's gone on in the past there. They are located at what we would consider, what the plans consider, a regional corridor, former regional corridor. It supports redevelopment here, does support policies in the land use plan that encourage Topeka Boulevard to redevelop. As I mentioned, they're rezoning from C4 commercial to R1 for a planned unit development. The planned unit development is really intended to accommodate both the multiple family residential as well as provide some greater standards on landscaping and signage that we wouldn't normally get out of a C4 commercial zoning, base zoning. The surrounding area here is mostly heavy commercial uses or light industrial uses, with the exception of a White Lakes Plaza to the north there, 38th Street, which is an apartment complex. The Land Use and Growth Management Plan considers this to be a regional corridor. The policies of both that plan and our housing strategy do support medium to high density infill that are proximate to regional corridors. Therefore, this does conform to that community commercial corridor in the Land Use and Growth Management Plan. Just highlighting the PUD here. Lot 1 will be the lot fronting onto Topeka Boulevard. This is also goes along with is being heard in conjunction with the preliminary and final plat. The main point of the preliminary and final plat is to accommodate a 5-lot subdivision with a 75-foot wide collector street named Southwest Jamison. Jamison is tended as a collector to accommodate truck turning templates using that street. The other purpose of the plat is to dedicate public streets and easements to accommodate the infill development. Staff is recommending approval of both of these items. There are some conditions of approval that are indicated in the staff report. There's also a memo that was passed out to you tonight. And also, I wanted to highlight a couple of things about the traffic study. That was reviewed by our Traffic Engineering and Public Works Department. Essentially, it was primarily centered for the Quick Trip convenience store and other commercial uses, as well as a maximum of 25 multiple family uses. Some recommendations of the traffic study are for a new signal at Jamison Drive. Let me go back to it. Which was this one here? Jamison Drive and Topeka Boulevard. Then they're going to propose sidewalks along both sides of Drive 1, and some further improvements at Interstate 470 and Topeka Boulevard intersection, and then as well a dual eastbound left turn lane at I-470 and Topeka Boulevard. Staff is recommending approval, and I am open to questions you may have. Thank you.
Commissioners, are there any questions for staff? Commissioner Cox?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Annie, a couple of questions about lots 4 and 5.
Sure.
On the master plan that we have here, on lot 5,
This
it
is the
just
slide.
makes reference to the C4 use group, and it doesn't make reference to the multifamily. Is that,
Oh, sorry about that.
how will this go forward? Will that be amended?
Did we, the one that you have before you tonight that was mailed in the packet?
Right.
Yes, because they have actually submitted some revised revisions that we did not pass out, Mike. We intended not to pass those out. Yeah, revisions to the PUD to accommodate either C4, and I have a copy here, or M3 on Lot 4. So that is how that is addressed.
On lot 4, but lot 5 just references the
And
C4.
Lot 5, yes, that is, yes. If we were to do that, they would have to revise that to include M3 as well.
Okay, but when you get over to the subdivision plat, it's obviously showing that lot 5 is, the plat is for lot 5 shows residential and a
You know,
restaurant.
actually, I think that's intended to be lot 4 is multifamily apartments and C4 on lot 5. So that might just be a little bit of a typo there, but yeah.
Okay.
It's
So do we have a-
intended to be.
I may be messed up
It's
there.
intended to
So
be,
what-
So do we have
yeah,
a
it's
visual?
intended to be multifamily residential
Do we have-
or commercial on lot 4, and then commercial uses on lot 5. Yes.
So no
Annie, do-
multifamily on lot
Yes.
5?
No multifamily on lot 5.
So Annie, do we have a visual of the correct PUD?
Did they go?
Madam Chairman, I'm going to clarify that if I could. So there have been some changes, a few changes, but, so on lots 4 and 5, they have the option of either doing multifamily residential or C4 development. And that applies to both lots 4 and 5. In some cases, the master plan in front of you is not caught up with all that, but that's how.
So Mike, the staff report refers to both 4 and 5 as multifamily?
And that's correct.
And
yes.
so that is where we are?
That is where we're at.
Okay.
That is correct.
Okay. Let me ask you, either one of you, kind of a follow-up question on both lots 4 and 5. If the applicant, there's some change in circumstances or market or whatever, and decides to do just C4 uses for all or part of 4 or 5, that is not does not trigger an amendment process to the PUD, right?
No.
That is correct.
Okay, so it could, as proposed here with the plat, they're looking at residential, at least on 4, but that's not a given. They see how it plays out.
Correct. Right. So what you're seeing on the plat is the preliminary plat that was originally submitted. It was not revised to reflect the options
Right, okay.
on the preliminary plat.
Okay, so even though 5 is, and I'm sorry to make you go back here, Mike, we say the staff report says multifamily is possible in both 4 and 5. The plat just shows commercial on lot 5. If the applicant changes their mind and has multifamily in all or part of lot 5, is that a PUD amendment?
That is not a PUD amendment.
And it's not a plat, the plat doesn't have to be corrected?
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, thank you.
Yep.
Question on the traffic study, I just had a chance to review that quick before the meeting.
Okay.
The traffic signal, is that to be installed at the time of first development, or I think that's on there when warned.
It was actually said in when warranted in the I got an email from Brad, one of our traffic engineering representatives, who had said at the time they would need, the traffic signal was going to be done by the developer at the time of the development. Then the rest of this, like the changes to the interchange there where it's Interstate 470, those were, would intended to be either a city project. I don't know if that would be a city project though, but they were, Public Works was not knowledgeable of how that would be funded. So,
Am I correct, it's more of a when warranted? Or
and if it said that, yes, it's a when warranted, yep.
Thank you. And my concern is just the spacing of the traffic signals is
Yes.
actually pretty close together, and it does look
Yes.
like they've done some simulation modeling to make sure
Yes,
that
that
it
is
will
correct,
work.
yes.
Okay.
Are there any more questions for staff by commissioners? All right. Is the applicant here? Okay. Take one at a time.
All right, first of all, I'd like to thank you guys for all being here because, as you know, it's hot outside and it's late, and you guys, I'm sure, have all had a very long day. So 2 years ago, Russ Briggs and I got together and we started talking about this development. This development is very important to us because, you know, Russ has owned the land for quite some time, as you all know. I've been involved in the development for 2 years. However, I've lived in Topeka for 35 years. My wife and I were on our way to Kansas City to settle and raise a family, and ended up that we landed in Topeka. We loved it so much that we stayed. And my wife has got a career here. I have a career here. And this development for me right now is just giving back to the community. South Topeka Boulevard, as you guys know, is a gateway into our city. It feeds our downtown, as we're all in right now. It also feeds our capital, that people are very, very proud of that live here and work here every single day. Topeka Boulevard, when we moved here, White Lakes was thriving. When Cindy and I moved here, White Lakes was thriving. It was amazing. The mall wasn't done yet over at West Ridge. And we lived in, where we live now was woods. And now it's grown and it's developed and people are living there. So for me, we want to bring back the Boulevard. That's our battle cry. When Russ and I sat down for the very first time to understand, we didn't know each other very well at the time, and we started talking about this, the one thing that we said, it's time. It's time. It's time to open up. For 30 years, I drove back and forth to Kansas City every day and got off on South Topeka Boulevard and thought to myself, wow, wouldn't that be great if we could do something here that when we got off, it would look like bright lights, green space, Quick Trip for the love of means, to be there and sit off on that, to give people a reason to pull off on the boulevard. If you take a look at the Turnpike now with everything they're doing, with cashless tolling, with bringing people off, with people getting off at our exit, with up and down the Turnpike changing hands or doing whatever, we have the opportunity right now to bring something to the community that it needs. Not only with Quick Trip coming here, but also with the housing development. And we all know that we need good, contemporary, affordable living for our folks to work and grow and not go outside of our community. When they're in our community, they're spending tax dollars. They're spending money. They're liking living here. They love to be on the boulevard. And everything has a neighborhood. What Russ and I are proposing is that we develop a neighborhood that people can come to. Sunflower Crossing is fitting. It's a crossing. It's a crossing for the people to go south. It's a crossing for people to go north. It's a crossing for people to go east and west. And it is a good exit for people to get off on. And so we believe that this is important to us. As far as some of the questions, and I appreciate that, is that right now, with the folks we're talking to, and we're on NDA, so I can't disclose everything, but the folks that we are talking to that are coming to the community have the housing, have the retail. We have the open arms with the Quick Trip or whatever. Tara is here, and she can certainly speak if you guys would like to ask her some questions about it. But, yeah, we just want you guys to know that for us, it's all about creating something, a gateway, if you will, into our community to bring people off on that first exit, to bring them into the downtown, to help redevelop that area. And that's really all I got to say, folks.
Thank you.
All right.
Are there any questions are you an applicant as well? Are you an applicant as well, sir? Okay, go ahead.
Good evening. I'm John Ladson, United Engineering Group, civil engineer and planner for the new development. And just want to let you know that we've gone through this process. We've read through the staff report. We've gone back and forth a little bit with in agreeing with and writing the memorandum for some of the changes and stuff. And we just want you to know that we're here to answer any questions. We agree with the conditions that the staff has recommended, and we've worked through those conditions, and we're in agreement with those. And I'm here for any technical questions you may have. Jim, I know talked about traffic light signal that is in the traffic study. It was recommended that it could be at a future date. We have talked to Braxton Copley and the traffic folks, and everyone has agreed that we're going to put that in on phase one, along with all the streets and the sewers and the water, all the infrastructure, so that it's all in place. We don't have to disrupt the whole place as we develop the rest of it. So, if you have any other questions for me, I'm available.
Are there any questions for either applicant? Yes, Jim?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Quick question about the road improvements.
Yes.
I'm a little unclear. Could you just identify those improvements that are being placed upon the applicant
Right.
to finance versus those that are public at large?
Okay, so we're gonna do an interior loop of the road, 38th Street, or I guess 39th Street, on the south end there. We're gonna utilize as much as we possibly can when we're doing design that's existing. Okay, we're gonna tie in there and make an intersection, and then go north on Jamison Drive, and then east on Jamison Drive into the intersection that connects to Topeka Boulevard. At Topeka Boulevard, there will be some turning lanes, some turning lanes coming into the site on the north, another one coming in to the site at Quick Trip, and then another one that will get them over to the turning lane that gets onto I-470. There'll be some median improvements, and there'll be a traffic signal at Jamison and Topeka Boulevard. That is the street and traffic. There's going to be a sanitary sewer extension, public sanitary sewer extension that'll come from the west side of the development along 39th Street and connect, well, it won't connect, but it'll extend to the east to be able to pick up Quick Trip. New water main development, we're going to loop the water line inside, interior line to connect to Topeka Boulevard and connect to the line that runs east-west on the 39th Street. Those are the public improvements.
And that separation of responsibility for the improvements is all acceptable to the applicant, obviously, right?
Correct.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to open the public hearing. Is there anyone from the public here? That could be you.
Good evening. My name is Tara Limbach. I am the real estate project manager with Quick Trip. If you guys have any questions for me pertaining the store, I'm more than happy to address those for you. Has everyone in here been to a Quick Trip before? It's a good start.
Yes. I grew up with Quick Trips.
Awesome.
I like going home.
Good.
Thank-
We're glad you're finally coming.
It's been a long time coming.
Yes, Commissioner Brooks?
So I just had a clarification from what Anne Marie said. This will be like the normal Quick Trip that has both cars and diesel trucks.
Correct. Looking at the site plan, where you turn in off of Jamison Drive, most to the north, you see that little rectangle that has the 8 little tiny dots on
Yeah, I
them.
see
So
that.
that's the fueling station for regular cars. And then directly behind the building, you'll see the 3 fueling stations for larger trucks. But as they mentioned, we never encourage overnight staying. This lot only has 4 parking spots for trucks. But again, we just encourage stop, get gas, come in, use the restroom, grab yourself some food and be on your way. So we don't foresee any overnight stays. We don't provide showers or anything of that would encourage someone to stay long-term.
Are there any other questions for the applicant, for her? All right, thank you.
Awesome. I appreciate your guys' time and thank you so much for being supportive of Quick Trip coming to your wonderful city.
Is there anyone else from the public? All right, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Is there any discussion by the commissioners?
Thank you, Chair. A question for staff. The stormwater issue, the detention ponds and all that, the staff report says that that'll get worked out later on once you actually know what the development is going to be, right?
I can cover that, yes. Our stormwater engineer has approved a very conceptual existing versus proposed conditions baseline study. And at this point, that's all he can approve. He doesn't, they don't have the engineering consultant doesn't have the final BMP designs. They don't have anything to submit yet. So those will be approved later on with site plan review. And there would be a note on the plat about that. Actually, there is a note on the plat about that.
So any final requirements will be just handled administratively by city staff?
Yes, it will be handled administratively by.
By
city
engineers,
staff.
but you guys
Yeah,
will see it again,
Yeah,
right?
utilities, yeah. Utilities, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it won't pass over your desk either, right?
It will pass over our desk as part of either the site plan review application or the building permit, yes. I mean, it comes in with that. We filter it out, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I just want to make sure I understand correctly, all the different lots that aren't developed at this point in time, they will come around in when ideas or final plans for development happen?
Yes. In fact, there is a note on the plat, to be put on the plat, one of the conditions, approval of all public improvement plans by the City of Topeka engineer shall be under contract for construction prior to issuance of building permits for the first phase.
All right, thank you. Is there any other discussion by the commissioners? Yes, Bert.
I had a question just around timing. So we talked about all the infrastructure work that would happen, the road, the signal, the utilities that come in. Would all of that be part of the first phase, or would some of it drag out to later phases?
Yeah, so it would definitely, all the infrastructure would be done in the first phase and be done prior to the first Quick Trip, if for sure they're coming, before Quick Trip gets their occupancy permit, so.
Okay. And then another question on timing is, you might have asked this already, but just on the non-Quick Trip lots, so you kind of have an existing site and it's, like you said, there's stockpile material, it's existing conditions or whatever. Will the owner be required to do any improvements on the non-Quick Trip sites in the immediate phase? Or can it lay as is for the time being until they decide to do work?
We do not have that information yet. Our engineers did not supply us with that information.
So it's going to be platted, the plat will be approved, PUD will be approved, they'll make the public improvements, and those individual lots, until such time as they're being developed, they can remain vacant. There are no site improvements that need to be made, unless perhaps there was like a stormwater feature that was required, but at this time, that's not anticipated. The stormwater detention is on the lot 1.
Yeah, makes sense.
So
I-
they'll clean
I
up
can
as they
answer
go along.
a little bit. So during phase 1 and stuff, we're going to do the roads, do the sewers and water. And we also have kind of a mass grading plan for those sites. So those will be kind of shovel-ready roughly during the first phase construction.
Yeah.
So,
So you'll be cleaning up as you go along?
yeah.
I think you're good. Are there any other questions? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I move to recommend that the governing body approval of the rezoning from R1 Single Family Dwelling District and C4 Commercial District, all to PUD Plan Unit Development District with the C4 Commercial and M3 Multifamily Dwelling Use Groups, subject to the conditions recommended by staff.
Madam Chairman, before you proceed with the motion, this memorandum that was handed out, we emailed to you, I think it was Friday, and it was printed for you and handed out today. Staff fully supports these, and so in your motion, you want to reference those as well, if you are following staff's recommendation.
I was still going. So, and as referenced in the memorandum provided by us.
Thank you.
All right. Do I see a second?
A second.
Ooh, I love that. Eager.
Multiple seconds.
All right. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
On that last point, Mike, on the memorandum, just a clarification on, under A, a maximum of one freestanding sign shall be permitted. And then number 1, a monument-style multi-tenant center sign. On the third line down, replaces the word face that was in the previous document with side. Is that consistent, or is that doubling the size of the sign?
That's not intended to double the size of the sign.
I'm sorry?
That's not intended to double the size of the sign. So sometimes when we use the word face, we're thinking about one side of the sign, but it might be more clearer just to say per side of the sign. Because some people might interpret a sign face as individual signs, each having a face. And it's intended, that's the maximum square foot per sign.
Okay.
Or per side, excuse me, per side.
Got it. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? All right. Amanda, will you take the vote?
Ms. Hannon? Aye. Mr. Tebobbin?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Mr. Kaut?
Aye.
Mr. Brooks?
Aye.
Ms. Herron? Aye. Ms. Nelson? Aye. Mr. Dean?
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you. Moving on to the next case,
I
PUD.
think you have to take a vote on the plat too, or the subdivision plat as well. Because you did not,
I was getting ready to,
they didn't motion the subdivision plat. Yeah, the subdivision plat afterwards.
right, I was getting ready to move on to
Okay,
that.
sorry.
Okay.
It's all part of the same presentation, right?
Yeah, it was.
All right, moving on to PUD 2411, Sunflower Crossing subdivision, preliminary and final plat. Annie, I believe this is you as well?
Oh, I did it as part of the same presentation, unless you want me to summarize it again. Do you want me to go ahead?
Commissioners?
I'm good. I'm good as she summarized it previously.
You're all good? Okay. Do I need to do the whole public hearing and all that other stuff? No, I didn't think so. All right, any discussion, any other discussion on that? No? I'll entertain a motion, right? At this point, I'm a little confused, but yeah. I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair,
I'm
Jim
not,
wanted-
was it in
I
your
move to
motion?
forward approval of the final plat for Sunflower Crossing subdivision to the governing body for acceptance of land to be dedicated for public purposes, subject to the conditions in the staff report stated below.
Second.
Discussion. We're gonna go through the whole process, y'all, so. Discussion? Seeing none?
Mr. Dean?
Aye.
Ms. Nelson? Aye. Ms. Herron? Aye. Mr. Brooks?
Aye.
Mr. Kaut?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Mr. Tobabin?
Aye.
Ms. Hannon? Aye. Motion passes 8-0.
All right, thank you. We're good. All right. Moving on to case number A2402, JJH Properties LLC. Is that you, Bryson? Moving on to case A2402, JJH Properties LLC. Is that you?
This is A2404.
I have 02 on mine.
We can clean that up, so yeah, it's your case.
Yes, this is my case, yes.
Okay, I'm having a hard evening, so.
Apologies there. So this is A2404, this is J.A. Fleeker annexation. Apologies for the confusion there.
Okay,
So this is a unilateral annexation, so the property owner has provided consent to the annexation. It is contiguous with the city boundary currently. You have the ADR Industrial Park subdivision to the west, which is within the city currently. It is currently 2 lots. They are just under 23.1 acres. This is located within the urban growth area in the employment tier. Currently, there is water along Northwest 25th Street. A sewer main will need to be extended to the full segment of the lot, so that will run all the way to the east of that property. It's currently available at the southwest. Fire and police do not have any additional cost to serve this property or this annexation. And additionally, the north half of Northwest 25th Street will be annexed with this as well. And with that, streets will accrue just under $1,800 per year cost with this, so it's $1,759 that they will have on an annual basis for this annexation for streets. The current use is an existing contractor yard. They are proposing as well to have an addition to their existing building, 17 by 48, so we are just at 816 square feet. They will also need to expand their existing stormwater basin for this as well. And staff recommends that this annexation is consistent with the comprehensive plan, and I would take any questions.
are there any questions by the commissioners? Commissioner Kopp?
Thank you. Bryson, 2 things, both on page 3 of the staff report. And you know what the first one's going to be, the reference to Soldier Township and the loss of revenue. I really think you need to add the phrase, "and the property were to be developed as proposed." And which we've mentioned in the past when we've dealt with annexations, that the figure there of 2,095 would be a revenue loss to Soldier Township only if the annexation didn't occur and the property were developed. Right?
So I attempted to clean that up with the language if the annexation did not take place. So if the development did happen, that would be that's what they would receive if the annexation did not take place.
I understand, but just as written, it looks like this is that's the amount of money going out of Soldier Township as a result of the annexation, and it's not. It's a lesser amount. This is the amount that Soldier Township would realize if the property were developed as proposed, correct?
Correct.
Okay. The other thing towards the bottom of the page, under streets, is the reference to the $1,759. I think you need to mention that that's an annual expense to the city.
That can be added as well.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for staff by the commissioners? Seeing none, is the applicant here? He's like, no, that's not me. Okay. Seeing none, open and close the public hearing. Is there any discussion by commissioners? All right. That he got y'all, huh? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion now.
Madam Chair, I would move that the Planning Commission finds that the subject property the annexation of the subject property is consistent with the comprehensive plan.
I need a second.
I'll second.
All right. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Amanda?
Mr. Dean?
Aye.
Ms. Nelson? Aye. Ms. Herron?
Aye.
Mr. Brooks?
Aye.
Mr. Kaut?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Mr. Tababin?
Aye.
Ms. Hannon? Aye. Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you. Moving on with our agenda, is there any public comment? All right, are there any communications to the commission?
Commissioners, I have two items. Most importantly is to introduce the gentleman in the audience. That's Paul Turner. Paul has joined the planning staff as a planner. Paul was interning for us previously and did such a great job, we hired him. So, thanks, Paul.
Welcome, Paul. Welcome. Now I won't look at you and ask if you have any questions. Thanks.
The other item is the incentives committee has a work group meeting, whatever we're calling it, Wednesday evening. We've invited certain builders and developers to come hear about the things we're doing to hopefully loosen up the development of multifamily a little bit and add an incentive for affordable housing. So we're doing that Wednesday at 5:30.
What is your goal with meeting with them
Get some feedback on the ideas.
that we currently have?
Yes.
And what kind of turnout are you hoping for?
Hopefully a good turnout.
Is it 5, 20, what?
Right, between 5 and 15. I would imagine.
Okay. All right. And so there's a plan B if you don't get 5 or 15?
Sure, we can, I think we're flexible enough to set something else up, email them some information, whatever it would take, we can certainly try to get in touch with people.
Okay. Is that all the communications?
That's it.
I do have a question for you. I pulled out the plan and noticed that we should be at evaluation and/or updates. It's been 10 years since the last one.
Of which plan? The land use and growth management plan?
Uh-huh.
Well, it's funny you should say that.
Okay. Well,
That's something we have noted in the office as well. So we're going to meet in a couple weeks and just as a staff kind of talk about some things that should be changed and updated. One thing that's probably not as strong in that plan is the housing study, so we can try to fold that in a little better. I know there's some things that happen outside the city with our subdivision regulations. Those policies could probably be tweaked a little bit to make things a little easier on staff. So, we're intending to come back with some, not a full-blown, it just depends on what we're going to come back with. So,
right, because I noticed the last one, it took almost a year to do the updates, and the commissioners were involved in that process?
for sure, that was 2014 when we did that. So we created our land use and growth management plan. That was a big deal at the time. It really changed the focus of where the city's targeting investment, and we implemented that policy with some subdivision regulation changes outside the city. So we've done all that. What we can do is, I think, just bring a series of updates, and maybe it's a memo that kind of outlines them and refreshes it a little bit. I will say, every time we adopt a neighborhood plan, we are technically updating our comprehensive plan, because those get implemented into the comp plan. But yes, the land use and growth management plan is due.
It's
For
due.
sure.
So am I understanding you correctly that the commissioners will not be involved in that process?
No.
Except to yay, nay, or okay?
No. So similar to how we do most things here, staff will talk and figure out what's been working, what's not, present in a discussion format to the commission, get some feedback, make some changes, come back, maybe present again, and then come back with some action on, it would be a text amendment or a comprehensive plan amendment that we would process through that. So it's a public process and commission's involved, so.
Does everyone understand that process? Yes?
So, great questions. And so I've always looked at the land use growth and management plan as kind of the vision for the city, a long-term vision. And I assume that council would share input. Elected officials, that's their job, is to lead, provide vision. I assume we have a role, maybe to some degree. obviously, and staff has a great role, but is that true? You're kind of going to be grabbing vision from multiple aspects and kind of bringing it together?
To a certain extent, I don't think we're gonna get into this is just me talking here. I don't think we're gonna get into the vision of the document. I'm thinking more we're updating the, again, the policies around what's happening outside the city. We're updating with just some references to the housing study. We don't really have that in our comp plan. We do it in our staff reports, but we don't really have that in our comp plan. So it's not, I'm not envisioning we're opening this thing up and talking about a new vision, because I think the vision is pretty good and we're still within that 2040 timeframe, but I do think we can update some things and create a better document.
So Dan, I might jump in really quickly too. So as you all know, we have a new city manager, Dr. Robert Perez, that's on board. So one of the things that we have had early discussions about is the land use growth management plan. And obviously not being a Topeka native and being from the city of Dallas, he's excited to dig into that and learn more about it. So I think it'll be a fluid process as we bring him up to speed on what we've been working on and the plans that we have in place. So I would say we'll be back with more information, but maybe TBD until we can dig into that a little bit more with him as well.
All right, thank you. Any other questions related to this? Any questions in general? All right, seeing none, I will end this meeting. Oh, I get to hit it. We're done.